From the mighty Pacific to the rugged Sierras, the Golden State once again beckons cycling's elite to challenge a land tailor-made for two-wheel glory. From the States, America's most dangerous riders, including Levi Leipheimer, George Hincapie, David Zabriskie and Christian van der Velde. From Europe, the most impressive group yet, including world-class climber Andy Schleck and world champion sprinters Thor Hushoff and Oscar Freire. Their names soon to be written across these great roads as each of these great men and cycling machines tackle California's toughest race ever. And now, from fast finishes to mountaintop climbs, from my favourites to dark horses to watch out for, we look ahead to it all. This is the 2011 Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan. Welcome everyone, I'm Phil Liggett, and just 5 years after its impressive debut in 2006, the Amgen Tour of California has already established itself as the go-to race for scenery and excitement. In my mind, this event assembles all the right ingredients necessary for a great stage race. From the sprint finishes in beautiful towns to mountain ascents of the highest caliber. And perhaps best of all, like a bottle of fine California wine, the event has become even better with time.
The Tour of California is very important to American cycling. The competition that the race gets every year really helps to grow the race and make it a much more important race in the world calendar.
Last year, when the race moved from February to May, the weather improved and the event increased its importance on the calendar as a tune-up for the Tour de France.
I like California, it's a beautiful scenery, and I really like how popular cycling was getting in the States and how the fans on the road. I really think, you know, in a few years it'd be one of the biggest races in the year.
Further increasing the prestige of this race, at the end of 2010, the readers of Cycling News voted the Amgen Tour of California as the third best stage race in the world, ahead of the Vuelta a España and the Tour de Suisse, which have both been running since the 1930s.
It is a very important race. I would say it's probably, after the Tour de France, the most important race.
Being the Tour of California, being the biggest race in America, to have a Grand Tour, Tour de France-esque route with a real time trial, real mountain stages, going from the mountains to the ocean, it's what California's all about.
This year, race organisers have truly outdone themselves with a formidable route nearly 800 miles in length. That includes a high Sierra start at Tahoe, a mountaintop finish at Sierra Road in San Jose, the return of the classic Solvang time trial, and in what will undoubtedly be the greatest mountain finish in the history of this event, the epic climb up Mount Baldy.
I think they've hit the ball out of the park on this. And it's got incrementally better each year. Now they've been able to plan for good weather. They've got some beautiful stages around Tahoe, which are going to be good racing and beautiful to watch. You've got a great time trial, and then you've got, I think the finish on Baldy is going to be epic.
A closer look at the map reveals the exact nature of the awe-inspiring challenge that lies ahead. Nearly 800 miles in all, great racing is expected from the outset as a world-class peloton departs South Lake Tahoe en route to a spectacular circumnavigation of the deep blue lake on day one, with the stage finishing at North Star at Tahoe Resort. From there, it's a trip down the Sierras to the fast streets of the Golden State capital of Sacramento on day two, where the leaders may well sprint to the finish line. Stage 3 will dawn in Auburn as the riders race across California's heartland to historic Old Town Modesto. Day 4 from Livermore to San Jose brings the men to familiar Sierra Road, home to great action in the past. This year the peloton will be challenged further as the climb ends the day. Mudslides have rerouted Stage 5 from Seaside to Paso Robles inland, so it will be a new and exciting challenge for the entire field. Before the return of the familiar individual time trial in Solvang, where each contender will be put to the test in Stage 6. The next day features the hugely anticipated climb up Mount Baldy in Stage 7, where the attacks should be plentiful and the race leaders will have to prove their mettle. If you love cycling, be sure to mark the date, May 21st, on your calendar in indelible ink. Starting in Santa Clarita, the home stretch of Stage 8 will lead the riders to the finish line in Thousand Oaks, home to the event's title sponsor Amgen. And if the past is anything to go by, this will be a dramatic day, not to be missed by any cycling fan. This year's 8-stage race will have 5 prestigious jerseys at stake. The Amgen race leader, California Travel and Tourism King of the Mountains, Herbalife Sprint Champion, Rabobank Best Young Rider, and 1 uniquely special jersey. The Amgen Breakaway from Cancer Courageous Rider is awarded at the end of every stage, not for the fastest or strongest rider, but for the bravest. American veteran George Hincapie has won this jersey 3 times, and it is a jersey heartily endorsed by the man who is synonymous with yellow bracelets and an incredible triumph over cancer.
I think the key word is unity, and ironically enough, it's a good word for cycling too. Anytime these groups come together and share their stories together and share their mission, I think the effect is tenfold.
Last year's Breakaway from Cancer jersey holders included George Hincapie, Tony Martin and Jaroslav Popovic. And this year, thanks once again to Amgen's support, this charitable component of the race will continue to raise awareness to the important resources available to cancer patients. And every cyclist in the field will once again be sure to target this illustrious jersey that is both a worthy goal in the name of a worthy cause. For more information, log on to breakawayfromcancer.com. Coming up, I'll highlight every stage and reveal my choice for each of the race jerseys. Plus, former champion Levi Leipheimer on how he can reclaim the Golden State. And a look at the tough competition inside Team Garmin-Cervelo, when the 2011 Amgen Tour of California, presented by Nissan, continues. Welcome back to the 2011 Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan. At the beginning of last year's race, all eyes were on 3-time defending champion and California resident Levi Leipheimer. But on stage 1, amidst the packed streets of Sacramento, it was Mark Cavendish of Team HTC Columbia who seized a chance for glory. It's going to be close, but no, it is all a formality in the end. Mark Cavendish has won the day. Stage 2 was a difficult rain-soaked mountain ride that ended with Brett Lancaster and the Cervelo test team stealing both the day and the overall lead. The third stage, from San Francisco to Santa Cruz, ended in a thrilling finish. Now the line is almost here. Michael Rogers is going to kick, but Zabriskie, you see, knew the distance to the line and has snatched it on the line from Michael Rogers and from Levi Leipheimer. And a new race leader. With stage 4, the racing turned dramatic as the great Lance Armstrong hit the deck. And the world's elite sprinters, they showcased their speed. And Cav has been beaten because right on the line, Francesco Tiki has taken it from JJ Haido, and I think Mark Cavendish has been relegated there, Paul, to 3rd place. Stage 5 foreshadowed the road ahead as Peter Sagan won the day, and Michael Rogers donned the yellow. It is going to be Sagan snatching it on the line. Rogers gets 2nd, Zabriskie gets 3rd, and that, for me, makes Rogers the overall leader. But not before Lance Armstrong made the painful decision to withdraw following a bloody crash. For stage 6, the riders continued their journey south and the first mountaintop finish in the race's history at Big Bear, with Peter Sagan once again at the forefront of the action. Stage 7 brought the race of truth to the spectacular streets of the City of Angels. Mick Rogers held off all challengers to end the day leading by just 9 seconds, setting up stage 8 for a spectacular conclusion with a myriad of attacks. There's been a counter-attack here because Leipheimer is making his bid to win the Amgen Tour of California, and Michael Rogers has spotted the move and is straight after him. But in the end, none was successful, and Mick Rogers became just the 3rd different rider ever to win the event. His margin of victory just 9 seconds over Zabriskie in 2nd and 25 seconds over 3rd-placed Levi Leipheimer. This year the field will be wide open, as just days ago the defending champion pulled out of the 2011 edition with mononucleosis, meaning that every team will now be in the hunt for the title. There'll be 18 world-class teams taking part in the 2011 Amgen Tour of California, including 9 UCI World Tour teams, including Team Garmin-Cervelo, HTC High Road, BMC Racing Team and Team Radio Shack, all from the United States. And from Europe, Rabobank Cycling Team, Saxo Bank SunGuard, Liquigas Cannondale and Leopard Trek and Sky Pro Cycling. Additionally, 4 elite professional continental teams will take part, including Team Neta, Team Type 1 Sanofi Aventis and United Healthcare Pro Cycling. Plus, don't count out Team Spidertech, powered by C10, and 5 of the very best UCI continental teams, including Kelly Benefit Strategies Optum Health, Jelly Belly, Jamie's Suter Home, Bissell Cycling and Kenda 5-Hour Energy Pro. This year, on May 15th, Stage 1, presented by Michelob Ultra, will kickstart the event with an impressive day on the high-altitude Sierra Nevada mountain range. This setting that may be better known for boards than bikes, but any lucky resident will tell you that Tahoe is a 12-month-a-year paradise, suited for every sport imaginable and ideal for cycling. The peloton will launch from South Lake Tahoe and race nearly 100 miles clockwise around the perimeter of the pristine lake. Each click serving as a 2-wheel litmus test for the riders to test their own legs and size up the key competition. With lots of open undulating road at a 5 to 6% gradient around the lake and 3 King of the Mountain bonuses for the climbers to fight over, the final climb of Brockway Summit for 3.2 miles will be the biggest test of the day as the pack finishes at North Star at Tahoe Resort. On this day, take a close look on Team Garmin-Cervelo, as it will be the key for one of America's top teams to have established a general classification contender. But who that rider will be is a great unknown. Team Garmin-Cervelo will have a welcome problem at the Amgen Tour of California, as they have several possible contenders for the coveted Amgen race leader yellow jersey, including Christian van der Velde, the former third-place finisher here in California in 2008 and the fourth-place finisher at the Tour de France that same year. He's back after an absence of a year.
I'm really happy and excited to be going back to California this year. I missed it last year, and that was a huge sacrifice on my part to go and do the Giro, which I thought was the right thing for my schedule last year. But now I just can't wait to be back on U.S. soil, and we're sick of getting second place. We want to win the whole race.
After his runner-up finish last year by a deficit of only 9 seconds, there's only one place to go for Dave Zabriskie.
I'd like to win California. It suits my strengths just because I live there and just highly motivated to do well. Still have to take a look at that Mount Baldy stage. It's a legitimate mountaintop finish, so that'll be probably pretty important.
One rider who might enjoy the rarefied air is rider Hejerdal, who will hope to build on last year's stellar performance.
The Tour of California, I was relaxed. I was there to help the team, help Dave, and I did that. And
Hejerdal has gone with a tremendous kick. Hincapie a little bit late to react to that. Rider Hejerdal turned it to perfection.
In the process, I was able to win the stage and get 5th overall myself, and those things just kept rolling. And obviously the Tour is a highlight. I've been thinking about that kind of stuff for a long time, and I was just sticking with the theme of the year, and I'm working hard to try and keep it good.
This really is a stacked squad, including American Tom Danielson, who should be motivated with a possible spot on the Tour de France team on the line. Paris-Roubaix champion Johan van Summeren, and of course the defending world champion Thor Hushovd, as Garmin-Cervelo looks to make a big impact on the road ahead. Stage 2, presented by the California Travel and Tourism Commission, departs on May 16th from the year-round alpine paradise of North Lake Tahoe, Squaw Valley, USA, and begins with over 10 miles of twisty climbing up and over the Donner Pass that may lead to some early separation. Then the real fun begins with a high-speed descent of rolling downhill for nearly 70 miles, including over 7,000 feet of staggering descents that will surely put even the toughest veterans on edge. If the peloton comes back together by the time the tyres hit Sacramento, watch out for a field sprint by the end of the day, just like the Golden State Capitol has seen in the years past. Last year, the Herbalife green jersey was worn by star Mark Cavendish early on and eventually won by Peter Sagan in a breakout performance by the 20-year-old. This year, in these first stages of sprints and thunder, each fine sprinter on the Amgen Tour of California roster will be eager to contend the trademark green garb awarded daily to the highest sprint points total in the overall race. And there are many world-class speedsters who will battle it out, including Matthew Goss, JJ Haido and Ben Swift. There are two men in particular, though, who will be watched warily by the competition with suspicion: Thor Hushovd and Oscar Freire. Racing for the American team Garmin-Cervelo, the big Norwegian Hushovd knows how to put the hammer down when the finishing line is within sight. Looking to counter Thor Hushovd will be Team Rabobank, led by the 2008 Tour de France green jersey champion and three-time world champion Oscar Freire. The veteran Freire still has enduring power that makes him a threat from the streets of Sacramento, but he will have to count on the strength of his team to pull him through. Still to come, a look at the man who may be cycling's next big thing. Plus a taste of the high-speed excitement of Stage 3 from Auburn to Modesto, when the 2011 Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan continues. The Amgen Tour of California kicks off on May 15th as the greatest cyclists on earth tackle the Golden State. The Amgen Tour of California live May 15th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Versus. And NBCSports.com will continue to be the premier destination for cycling fans to get predictions from Paul Sherwin, Bob Roll and myself, along with daily standings, results, video recaps, along with fan forums and live chats. Don't miss the Amgen Tour of California on Versus and NBCSports.com, all part of the NBC Sports Group. For many, American cycling has long been dominated by familiar names, but with the retirement of Lance Armstrong earlier this year, the search has intensified for the next great American rider. And Team BMC think they may have the answer. The son of Tour de France stage winner Davis Finney and Olympian Connie Carpenter Finney, Taylor Finney came out of the womb with expectations.
With regards to being the next Lance Armstrong, with regards to being the next Fabian Cancellara or whatever, I'm different than everybody else, so I'm going to be the best Taylor Finney that has ever ridden a bike. Taylor is a really special young American talent.
It's going to be exciting to see how he fits into the pro peloton and takes his licks and learns the ins and outs of pro bike racing. In my mind, I still have a long ways to go, and so I don't need to get a big head. I don't need to, be recalling my 5 world championships, because now that I'm a pro and I get to that level and I can achieve the same sort of things as a pro, that's where I'll have really made it. I think he can start out being one of the best time trialists already in the world, and especially in shorter events, prologues. He's got unlimited capability. And as far as the future is concerned, I think it's limitless. Anything is possible with him. Just got to hold on and enjoy the ride.
Stage 3 will run from Auburn, a town appropriately known as the endurance sports capital, but historically for its place in the California gold rush. From here, the peloton will journey across the Golden State's agricultural heartland to historic Modesto, a family-friendly destination full of tree-lined streets and scenic countryside. With 3 intermediate sprints that the Herbalife Sprinters jerseys combatants will be keen to contest, this will likely be a day when riders eye the early breakaways. Weather could be a key in this vast valley, so watch out for crosswinds which could allow the great locomotive of the peloton to chase down any escapees. But those same western winds could split the field, so yellow jersey contenders and their teams will be on their guard. But don't be surprised if by the end of the day the big sprinters are grinning and grimacing as the finishing line of Modesto beckons. On these early stages, look for the 4 professional continental teams to try to make the mark, including Team Type 1 Sanofi Aventis, featuring Alexander Efekin, a recent winner of the Tour of Turkey, and Rubens Battagliati, himself a stage winner and overall leader of the Tour de France back in 2002. Also hungry for success, Team NetApp. They include former Garmin rider Steve Kutzer and Bartosz Husarski, who had a strong showing last month also at the Tour of Turkey. And United Healthcare Pro Cycling, they have Rory Sutherland, the 2010 Cascade Cycling Classic champion, and Robert Forster, a sprinter and multiple Giro d'Italia and Vuelta a España stage winner. Plus, don't count out Team Spidertech, powered by C10, with former Univest Grand Prix winner Lucas Jusa and solid time trialist from Canada Svein Tuft. Each of these teams and the fine riders will be looking for a touch of the everlasting glory that comes with an Amgen Tour of California stage win. Stage 4, presented by United Healthcare, departs from Livermore, located east of San Francisco and among the oldest wine-growing regions in all of the state. From Livermore, the route will wind to Silicon Valley, San Jose, the high-tech capital of the world. That is also California's oldest city, making it a perfect combination of innovation and charm. But for the riders this day, it definitely won't be about sightseeing, and it may well be the first true test for the yellow jersey contenders and their teams. From the outset of the day, the hills begin, and a steep climb at an over 8% grade up to the apex of Mount Hamilton follows. And then, after a harrowing descent, it'll be time to once again face off with the mighty Sierra Road, home to so many battles in the past. And this time, the stage will end at the top of this climb, making it quite possibly a game changer for the field.
We're going to go over Mount Hamilton before that, which is an even bigger climb. That's higher up than Sierra. That's only going to soften people up, and then Sierra is, nail in the coffin, so to speak.
This stage might also give us a look at contenders for the California Travel and Tourism King of the Mountains jersey, won by the Dutchman Thomas Rabu of Team Type 1 in 2010. With the addition of 2 mountaintop finishes this year, watch for some more traditional climbers, including Alexander Efekin, also from Team Type 1. Perhaps Levi Leipheimer, Andy Schleck, or Peter Velits from HTC High Road. Still to come, Andy Schleck on his Starcross 2010 campaign.
The moment I stepped on the podium, it was like happy emotions, but also like disappointing for me.
And a look at last year's best young rider Peter Sagan, who looks to continue the momentum for Liquigas Cannondale.
Peter Sagan of Liquigas.
All ahead on the Amgen Tour of California preview show, presented by Nissan. Strava.com is a social training website where you can follow the pros, compete against local cyclists and track your performance. Grab your GPS device and get started at strava.com/versus. Strava, built for cyclists. It's time now for our Team Liquigas update, presented by Cannondale. Sagan goes and kicks to the right of the road. It is going to be Sagan snatching it on the line. Well, watch out too for the green Herbalife leaders jersey on the right of the road now. Sagan gets it. Back-to-back stage wins at last year's race, not to mention the Rabobank Best Young Rider jersey announced 20-year-old phenom Peter Sagan to the American public, well ahead of expectations. Making his journey to the top even more improbable is the story about how his bike racing career began.
I have heard that there are some doubts about the legend of the use of my sister's bike to win one of my first junior races. That story is true. I sold my mountain bike and my new one had not yet arrived. So I practiced with my sister's bike the day before and actually broke the frame. But we repaired it that night and won the race the following day, riding on my sister's bike.
Now Peter is preparing for the Amgen Tour of California with a bike supplied by Cannondale rather than his sister. 2 Americans making their debut with Liquigas hope his precocious nature as well as his success in this race will rub off a little. Timmy Dugan, formerly of Team Garmin, and Ted King, recently of the Cervelo test team.
So I'm really excited for this 2011 edition. It's the first time that I'm going to be able to do it in May when the weather's nice. With the better weather, you get to go into the higher mountains, and the race for sure is going to be a challenge. But we look at what the team did, what Liquigas did last year in 2010. The team is going with high hopes for sure. They make a big splash in the American circuit.
In addition to King and Dugan, Sagan will be looking to the four Italians, Caruso, Os, Ponzi and Viviani, to keep him in contention throughout the nearly 800 miles that lie ahead. Stage 5, presented by Rabobank, begins in beautiful Seaside, California, not far from the world-famous Pebble Beach golf links and legendary Cannery Row. Seaside is a world-class attraction in its own right, and the peloton will no doubt be thrilled to be back for the first time in 3 years. From Seaside, the pack will journey away from Steinbeck country, and this year, instead of trekking down the coastal wonderland known as the Pacific Coast Highway, the peloton will head inland to seek shelter from the coast and fast roads all the way to Paso Robles, known for its famous vineyards and memorable 2 years ago from its great reception for the Tour. This year, the key stretch will come at the end, as the peloton will likely separate into packs looking for crucial time. By this point in the race, Andy Schleck and Leopard Trek will be looking to be in the hunt for the overall race lead, a position that their leader has become accustomed to. 2010 was a year to remember for Andy Schleck. For the second straight year, he finished runner-up in the Tour de France. But this time it was in controversial fashion, as Alberto Contador pulled a questionable attack just as Schleck's chain dropped.
But his chain has jammed and Contador's gone. Well, this is terrible. This moment in time, he could be losing his yellow jersey. What an incredible event this is.
Andy lost 39 seconds that day, the same margin he would lose the Tour by. A tough loss to swallow, but another good sign for the future.
2010 was definitely my best year so far. To win up on Tourmalet, that's something I will never forget. The worst moment was that I didn't win the Tour. Of course I was happy, I mean second is still a good place in the Tour, but it was the year 2009, I was already second, so I really aimed to win and I was really close. And the moment I stepped on the podium, you know, it was like, was happy emotions, but also like disappointment for me.
Still just 25 years old, this young rider readies once again for the Tour de France in July by warming up at the Amgen Tour of California. And his expectations for his new team, Leopard Trek, are high.
Now it's a lot of talking because on the paper we are #1 team, but that's not enough, you know. We don't want to be on the paper the best team, we want to show it on the road. We have seen in the past that teams come up and they have good riders, but that's not all about, you know. It has to really be a family. Everybody has to be happy, because only a happy bike rider can be a good bike rider.
Among Schleck's supporting cast is former Amgen Tour of California stage winner and fan favourite Jens Voigt, who was 6th overall last year and is looking forward to his return to the Golden States.
I like California also because you get treated like a rock star, you know? People really like enthusiastic about it, you know. One year we saw some condors, and you know how rare they are, Californian condors. It's like once in a lifetime chance to see them. We saw, I think, 4 or 5 of them.
In addition to Voigt, Schleck will have a strong support team around him, ready to tune up for their biggest race of the season in July, including young Danish sensation Jakob Fuglsang and former Tour stage winner Linus Gerdemann. Even though Schleck's rival Alberto Contador could not make the trip, Contador's Saxo Bank Sungard team will be roaming the roads of California, with team members looking to prove they are worthy of riding in support of the reigning yellow jersey in July. The Saxo Bank riders making the trip include 2011 Tour de Flanders winner Nick Noyens and JJ Haido, the sprinter, who has previously won 5 stages here at the Amgen Tour of California. This event was supposed to be a showcase for another World Tour team coming across the pond from England, Team Sky. But that all changed at the end of April when defending champion Michael Rogers pulled out of the race with mononucleosis. Now it will be up to his teammates, including the Norwegian Kurt Assel Arvesen, a former Tour de France stage winner, Ben Swift, who just won a stage at the Tour of Romandy, and the veteran sprinter Greg Henderson from New Zealand, who already won a stage at Paris-Nice this year. Coming up, the power and promise of Team HTC High Road as they look to vault young TJ Van Garderen into yellow. Plus Levi Leipheimer, he reveals his path to a 4th Golden State Championship. All ahead on the Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan. Welcome back to the Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan. Now this year it will be more than just the men taking part, as the women will join in the action of the Amgen Tour of California for their own international time trial challenge. 12 world-class women will be using the exact same 15-mile course, and they will include many of the world-class athletes who will be competing in the 2011 World Championship and the 2012 Olympic Games in London. Make sure to check out the broadcast that day to see these great athletes conquer their own race of truth. And don't be surprised if their times are nearly on a par with the men. Stage 6, presented by Herbalife, will be set in the quaint Danish town of Solvang, celebrating its 100th year in a festive way by once again hosting the race of truth that has put this town squarely on the cycling map. At 15 miles, it's not an extremely long time trial, but it is a challenging one with tight turns that can lead to big action, plus enough change in elevation to constantly keep the riders and their special bikes on edge. It ends with a predominantly uphill route and a fast finish back into Solvang. It is a challenge that one of cycling's biggest stars looks forward to.
I know the time trial, it's a hard time, but it's a beautiful time trial. Now I'm in the full preparation for the tour, so I believe it'd be a really important test for me.
When last run 2 years ago, it was declared a tough course by none other than Lance Armstrong and Levi Leipheimer, who stamped his authority on this stage for the third year in a row.
Yes, there he goes. He's even faster. 30-40. Third win, he says. Leipheimer was on fire.
You know, I know that course, and I know what it feels like at certain points, and I've tried to grab that feeling again of just really putting myself right to the limit, and I was able to do it again.
So it's no surprise that the return to Solvang is welcomed by Team Radio Shack.
I'm happy to see the return of the time trial at Solvang.
The Solvang time trial, in my opinion, is one of the most beautiful time trials of any race in the world. I mean, you've got the rolling hills there in the Santa Ynez Valley with the backdrop of Solvang that, you know, is very European and provides a great venue for the fans.
For Team Radio Shack, Stage 6 is clearly where they anticipate taking control of the race, an objective that escaped their grasp last year. Winning any major stage race is impressive, but Levi Leipheimer, a native of California, made winning the Amgen Tour of California look easy. 3 straight overall victories, each more impressive than the previous one, but in 2010 he couldn't win number 4.
The pressure builds on myself, and last year, you know, the course just, it wasn't suiting me very well. I still felt like a lot of the times I was the strongest guy, but I couldn't take advantage of the climbs. And then in the time trial, I was beaten by both Mick and Dave, and that was really the stage that made the whole race.
And I think Levi in the Tour of California was on a great level, but I think Michael Rogers was just a little stronger, and Zabriskie was also a little stronger.
It's hard to continue a streak like a 3-time Tour of California championship.
I think he just has to go back to the level of 2009. I think he was just a little bit better.
In the years past, it was February. It was the first race for everyone. You know, I spent 3 months at home in Northern California where the race started, preparing just for that race every day. I had that on my mind with specific training towards that. And, you know, I think I just sort of out-prepared everybody.
You know, all the seasons are not the same, and I mean, he's definitely super motivated for the Tour of California, and it's going to be his big goal of the year.
In the end, I was happy still to be on the podium, be third, and animate the race. You know, I was able to attack a lot and put the others under pressure. I took that away from the race, but of course, you know, I want to go there and win. After you've won 3 times, there's really nothing else that can satisfy you.
If we would say, what do you have to choose for Levi, win the Tour of California or be on the podium of the Tour de France, I would probably say win the Tour of California.
I'm biased, but in my opinion, I think we have the best team. Nobody else has a 3-time Tour of California winner on their team.
Looking to bring Levi Leipheimer back into yellow will be a diverse cast, including the Spanish veteran Jaime Zubeldia, the American upstart Ben King, the reigning US road racing champion, and the man who can ride with the best, another American in Chris Horner. Among Team Radio Shack's duties will be shepherding Levi up the ominous mountain still to come. But Levi has a little experience at altitude himself, having won the Race to the Sky, the Leadville 100 mountain bike race last year, breaking Lance Armstrong's course record in the process. Coming up, we head into the mountains, including the dramatic penultimate stage.
I think the finish on Baldy is going to be epic. And the race needs it. It needs these iconic moments that people will always remember. And that has the potential to be one.
This and much more on the Amgen Tour of California preview show, presented by Nissan. Welcome back to the Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan. For Team HTC High Road and their owner Bob Stapleton, the Amgen Tour of California is a major part of their season.
The Tour of California is going to be one of the top world events if it isn't already. You know, I'm a native Californian. We're headquartered in California. That race is personally important to me, and it showcased our team on the world stage.
At the forefront of Stapleton's effort is the 22-year-old American TJ Van Garderen, whose third-place finish at the 2010 Critérium du Dauphiné in France put the world on notice.
Once you have a good year, the first question on everyone's mind is, can you do it again, or can you do better? I think there's going to be a bit more pressure on me, but you know, that's what I want to prove to people, that not only can I do it again, I can do better.
Last year in California, Van Garderen helped teammate Michael Rogers win the overall race. With Rogers' departure to Team Sky, Van Garderen has set his own sights on the Amgen Tour of California yellow jersey. And at just 22, he can also target the Rabobank Best Young Riders jersey as well. Also riding for Team HTC High Road will be Matthew Goss, whose stage win at the 2010 Giro d'Italia put him on the right track.
Winning the stage in the Giro was one of the turning points of my year last year, and I think when you win a race like that, you start to look at other races differently, and I think that was really the big turning point and gave me a lot of confidence for the rest of the season. I think the results that followed were because of that win.
Continued success this year, including becoming the first Australian to win the Milan-San Remo Classic, has made him a marked man.
California is a huge, huge race for this team, and I think they really demand results. You know, it's pretty much a home race, so I think there's going to be some nervous mornings before the stage starts.
Supporting Goss in the sprints will be the veteran lead-out man Bert Grabsch of Germany, while TJ will look to the American Danny Pate. And the wildcard could be the Slovakian Peter Velits, who finished fourth in last year's Vuelta a España. Following the time trial in Solvang, Stage 7 from Clermont to Mount Baldy, presented by Nissan, is sure to be one of the most exhilarating days of the entire race, as the big men of the peloton are certain to go head-to-head with fierce attacks on two very impressive climbs. The first ascent begins right after the start in the college town of Clermont, as the riders head into the spectacular Angeles National Forest to prove their might. After the first kick of the mountains, there is a steep descent before an even more brutal climb begins. And if you're going to pack up and go to witness just one climb this year, this is the one I would recommend. Which brings us to our Nissan race innovation, the harrowing climb to Mount Baldy.
I think the finish on Baldy is going to be epic. I wouldn't surprise me if there's 500,000 people there, and that becomes an iconic stage for the race. And the race needs that. You need these iconic moments that people will always remember, and that has the potential to be one.
Which is at high altitude and it's steep, and in my opinion is worthy of a Tour de France stage, a big stage in the Tour.
A glance at the day's topography show the brutal nature of the day and how the make-or-break summit should splinter the peloton into many pieces. The riders will be tested from the outset, but it's the shadow of Mount Baldy that will loom large from the beginning too. The ascent is over 4 miles with more than 2,000 feet of vertical climbing and a thigh-burning grade of nearly 9%. Expect the climbers and the GC hopefuls to put on a show, because as we all know, with terrain like this, anything really can happen. That's the magic of cycling. Coming up, the Amgen Tour of California's Road to Victory, and my pick for each jersey category when the Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan returns. We've now covered 13 of the 18 tour teams so far, but the last group has special qualities, the continental teams featuring their wealth of young domestic talent. Kelly Benefit Strategies Optum Health has Mike Friedman and Jason Donald, formerly of Team Garmin, and Andrew Bajidali, who won the Tour of Thailand 2 years ago. Kenda 5-Hour Energy, led by team director Frankie Andreu, featuring general classification threat Ben Day, who won the San Dimas stage race the last 2 years. Jamie's Suter Home, featuring the explosive climber Tyler Wren, and including sprinters James Driscoll and Alejandro Barajo. Bissell Cycling includes Ben Jacques Maines, who was 16th overall in the 2008 Amgen Tour of California, and the recent signing Chris Baldwin, who is a 2-time USA National Time Trial champion. And there's also the Jelly Belly cycling team, which includes Jeremy Powers, a well-known name throughout cycling for his cyclocross expertise. Stage 8 from Santa Clarita to Thousand Oaks is presented by Amgen and will begin near the place they call Awesome Town, Santa Clarita, California. Home of Six Flags, many hit television shows, and miles of perfect bike paths called paseos. But the riding for the peloton this day is unlikely to be recreational. As in the years past, the contest to win the Amgen Tour of California has stretched into the final day, with the overall result still in doubt. The race route runs west through the spectacular Highway 126 leading to Santa Paula, before veering south into Balcom Canyon and the Norwegian grade for the final King of the Mountains points. Once into Thousand Oaks, there will be 5 flat and fast circuits before the winner of the 2011 Amgen Tour of California will be crowned and all the prize jerseys given away. And now my current predictions for the 2011 Amgen Tour of California. For the California Travel and Tourism King of the Mountains, Andy Schleck gets my nod. The 2-time Tour de France runner-up is certainly capable of climbing even the biggest mountains with force, and I hope that he comes to California ready to make an impact. Herbalife Sprint Champion, as a former green jersey winner at the Tour de France, the Norwegian powerhouse and the world champion, Thor Hushovd gets my choice. Rabobank Best Young Rider. There are many young riders to consider, including the impressive Taylor Phinney, who we profiled earlier. But my instinct is to currently favour TJ Van Garderen. And for the Amgen race leader, well, it's hard to count out Levi Leipheimer, who has the experience as the 3 times former champion. And after losing this race last year, he will undoubtedly be more motivated than ever to reclaim this event that the California resident considers to be rightfully his. And for the uniquely special Breakaway from Cancer Most Courageous jersey, look for George Hincapie to ride in the blue at least once to represent this most worthy of causes for the 4th year in a row. Of course, in cycling, anything can change in an instant, so make sure to tune in as the Amgen Tour of California kicks off May 15th as the greatest cyclists on earth tackle the Golden State. The Amgen Tour of California live May 15th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and of course, right here on Versus. Make sure to join me and my broadcast partners, Paul Sherwin and Bob Roll. And don't forget, for everything cycling, log on to NBCSports.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at VS Cycling. Don't forget, you can also follow the race live online daily at AmgenTourOfCalifornia.com. For me, Phil Liggett, here's to a great race on Californian roads, and we'll see you there. Goodbye.